Abdiwahab brings a wealth of experience and brings dedication in his role, focusing on empowering and supporting Minnesota's diverse communities. Throughout his career, Abdiwahab has been a tireless advocate for inclusivity and economic empowerment throughout the state and in this country. His leadership at the Office of New Americans exemplifies a commitment to fostering unity, integration, entrepreneurship, and equitable access to opportunities for all people of Minnesota and in the U.S. Under his guidance, initiatives have been launched to enhance workforce development, promote cultural understanding, and strengthen partnerships between communities and state agencies. Abdiwahab's collaborative approach and deep-rooted understanding of the challenges facing immigrant populations have made him a respected voice in our community and in this state. His efforts have not only enriched the lives of newcomers, but have also contributed significantly to the economic vitality and cultural fabric of this wonderful state. Please join me in welcoming Abdiwahab Mohamed, whose leadership continues to make a positive impact in the lives of so many.
Good morning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Abdiwahab Mohamed. I have the honor of serving as an assistant commissioner within the Department of Employment and Economic Development. I see Naomi here, so I pretty much do what you do at the State Department here as the state. But it's such an honor to be here today. I walked into the room and I've seen so many familiar faces. And I thought to myself, before you think of a diaspora, we expect a lot from the diaspora communities. We expect them to be contributing to the economic vitality of the state they live in, the city they live in, and also to participate in the governance and relationship back home with the federal government. So there's so much to expect from the diaspora community. Then I thought, who is a diaspora community, and what are the stories behind people who we call diaspora today, going back 100 years. These are people who either by choice came to this beautiful country or had to pack their whole life in a suitcase and leave everyone they knew and come here by choice, but also leaving behind a lot of the families and friends they had. Either way, when we come here, you're faced with so many challenges. Language barrier, transportation, credential work. Some people bring in so much skills that they cannot even use the next day. You've heard about the story of a doctor who is doing a manual labor job. So there's so many difficulties, and the first point of contact is the local communities, the neighbors, the municipalities, the state. And what are we doing as a state here in Minnesota to help or support the diaspora community that we expect so much from? And I was thinking about, since we started this office, and this is me giving a little bit of a background of the office we have, the Office of New Americans. A couple of years back, we had so many issues that the community was advocating for. Starting with previous government's anti-immigrant laws and some of the local laws that the community was advocating for, and of course some other issues. And there was that central coordinating entity that the community needed to support the work that the community wants to do in the state of Minnesota. And that was the idea of the Office of New Americans, was born, an office that will represent all immigrants, regardless of their background, their identity, religion, all immigrants in the state of Minnesota. And to give you a perspective, we have about 480 something thousand people who live here, foreign born in the state, so close to 500,000 folks that call Minnesota home, and that's about 8% of the population here. And as you look into the data, disintegrated data, we have huge communities from Southeast Asia, the bigger chunk of the communities from East Africa, and that brings us to what we're doing here today. What is the East African community in the state of Minnesota? We hear so much about, home to the largest East African community in the nation. However, the stories are behind why the East African community chose here, we are at this state an open state that welcomes. And that's the key to a community to find home in anywhere, the issue of welcoming. We have had, even since we have this office, we have more discussions on what welcoming means. There are great efforts by, the federal government to welcoming America, but we've joined the city of Minneapolis and St. Paul, who also have offices of New Americans, to move the conversation from welcoming to belonging. If you want to read the Journey to Belonging, but the idea is that if you're welcoming me to your house, it's still your house. If I am immigrating here for good, that means I need to feel belong. I belong in that house. So we're moving the conversation from welcoming to belonging. So that's why you have the Journey to Belonging. The Chamber of Commerce did, the Minnesota Chamber of Commerce did a report on the importance of the communities and welcoming here in Minnesota, and that's a beautiful report that I would invite everyone to read. But it shows the contribution, the economic contribution of the community here in the state. What have we done? I know we don't have much time. What have we done as a state to support the diaspora communities? We have created this office. The Office of New Americans is now by statute. I have had the honor of leading this office from, an executive order to now having it as a state law that clearly defines the duties of this office. And the one role that really stands out is the coordination effort. We have about 17 state agencies at the state, going from, revenue, agriculture, public safety, education, and each of those agencies have certain programs for the immigrant and refugee communities. When it comes to education, we have programs for taking your kids to school. When it comes to agriculture, we have the Emerging Farmers Program. When it comes to health, human services, we have so many programs at each department, and that all trickle down to the community. And what this office does is coordinate those efforts. And of course, we have a diaspora, we have a interdepartment agency council that sits and meets. We are lucky to be supported by the lieutenant governor, the governor himself, through the budget and the proposals that have been done last session. But to just touch on a few things that have been touching the lives of the immigrants. For example, we passed the driver license for all bill that last session passed, that now allows people who could not get driver license to now apply for driver license and get two jobs. It's already impacted the number of employers outside the metro areas, and now people are free to drive to that places. Things like the Office for Enterprise Translation. We have all agencies that now they can access their translation and interpretation needs free of charge. We have had advocated for other initiatives that really touch the lives of the community. But whatever we do here locally, we're also joining other states to do the work federally. So we have an Office of New American State Network. About 21 states belong to that network. We convene in DC once a year. We do a lot of work with the new Task for New Americans, the New Americans Task Force, the Department of Human Service, and the White House's Office for Intergovernmental Affairs. We do want to see this drive. We want to support other states that are doing that. Just last year, we have brought on board North Dakota, that now has an Office for New Americans, and the latest, states to join the network. Maine, for example, the governor has just launched some of the most, immigrant-friendly policies. So these are diaspora communities in other states that are now joining forces to have such an amazing office that will coordinate immigrant and refugee resources in states, which is an amazing work that is continuing. I invite all of you to support your communities. I've seen so many community members, because that is how we do the work. We do it in two ways. We get the information from the community and we pass it along to policymakers. We get the policies and the state resources and pass it out to the community. So that is the vital role that we play, and we cannot do that without community organizations, the CDFIs, the community-led organizations that are doing the workforce, the health initiatives, the public safety initiatives. So it's great to see all of you in this room, and we will continue to champion the work that we do here. I could continue to talk about this for a while, but I want to make sure that we give time to all the amazing speakers. Thank you so much, Minhas, for hosting us today. I feel I'm home. And thank you so much, Assistant Secretary, for joining us today, and the other amazing, dignitaries that are attending here today. I know later on we expect Mayor Frey to attend. He will talk a lot about the Office of New Americans that the City of Minneapolis has been doing. And so it's an honor to be here today. And thank you so much. If I forgot anything, I would leave my contacts with Mohamed Ismail, and I'll be accessible if anyone wants to ask questions. Thank you.